one place that stood out the most was a arcade owned by Sega, and yeah, this place was 7 floors of machines. It's like on floors 1 to 3 they had slot machines filled with everything from cuddly toys to figures of anime things to all sorts. It was quite impressive. From like the 4th floor onwards, it was pretty much arcade machines. And these arcade machines are unlike anything I'd ever seen. They'd got these, along with your kind of standard rows of arcade machines, with everything from like really old kind of arcade games such as Street Fighter 2 to, you know, the very, very latest kind of games. I'm just trying to think of an example, but obviously I couldn't read much of what was going on because it was all in Japanese. They even had these kind of capsule arcade machines. These are like fully enclosed capsules. You like opened a kind of curved door, and you walked into this capsule, closed it behind you, and the screen was just, it filled your entire field of view. And I didn't actually try one out, unfortunately. I don't know why not. But yeah, the screen just filled your entire view. I can only imagine that it felt like you were almost there, wherever the game was set. I imagine it was quite impressive. And for those people who are obsessed with card games such as Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, they had machines on the very top level which could read the cards you put on top of them and play. You could play with your cards either against the computer on the screen or against the person next to you by slotting your cards into these machines. It was very impressive. I've never seen an arcade quite like it. It was quite impressive from a kind of geeky point of view. So yeah, we went through several shops. One was just full of DVDs. We went through a kind of souvenir shop. But yeah, after going through maybe 3 or 4 shops, we were just completely knackered. I don't know how you'd ever find what you want there, because just going through 1 or 2 shops is tiring. But to think that there's like a whole high street just full of these places is just crazy. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of history about Akihabara. This comes pretty much directly from the Eyewitness Travel Guide to Japan. It says, Akihabara Electronics District surrounds Akihabara Station. Directly under the station is a bazaar of tiny shops along narrow aisles selling any electronic device, simple or complex, from Christmas tree lights to the latest chip. The market grew out of the ruins of World War II, when the Japanese army had a surplus of equipment they wanted to dispose of. Students from the nearby universities who desperately needed money bought the surplus army parts and made radios, status symbols, and much in demand to sell on roadsides or in the tiny shops here. Akihabara and electronics have been synonymous ever since. Later, as the economy improved, the focus changed to televisions, washing machines, and refrigerators. You can still see these, dozens at a time, on display, but increasingly the emphasis is on computers, cell phones, and video games. Brand name goods are available at 3 to 10% discount, sometimes more. I have to admit, the electronics I did see in Akihabara were pretty impressive, I have to admit. When I was buying this camera here, I scoured the internet for what I thought would be, you know, the most economically but fairly sized camera for my hand, at a good price with good quality image. And in Akihabara, they pretty much blew it out of the water. They had things about, you know, this big with the same spec, and it was slightly disheartening. But then again, you saw the price and then thought maybe it was a good idea that I bought it in England. Even though they say Akihabara is good in terms of price for electronics, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not used to the currency yet, or maybe I don't know, I don't have a very good sense of perspective, but they seem bloody damn expensive. So yeah, I tried to see what I could before I got completely knackered and wanted to head towards the hostel. People were already kind of showing signs of falling asleep, and I have to admit, despite getting a good sleep on the plane, all I really wanted to do was just kind of chill out. The kind of tiredness was getting to me, so after like a game of cards or so, I just kind of headed to bed, and I had to get up early the next day, so I made sure I got a good night's sleep. Bunk beds were quite comfortable. I have to admit, it was the first time I'd come across one of those really hard Japanese pillows, which are just kind of filled with plastic beads. A fellow volunteer joked that she almost gave herself concussion when she first laid her head on. Yeah, they were quite hard, but I have to admit, it didn't stop me sleeping. So yeah, my first day in Tokyo was pretty much over in what seemed like a flash. It just, time just passed like nothing on earth. Despite being really excited about what we'd be getting up to the next day. I slept really, really well. So yeah, I'll move on to that next.